You've probably seen the headlines, right? The glossy ads, the shareholder reports, the whole carefully crafted image of ExxonMobil as this global energy giant. But what if I told you that's only half the story? What if the real game is being played behind the scenes, in courtrooms and in closed-door meetings? Well, today, we're not just looking at a company. We are officially opening an investigation. This is the case file on ExxonMobil.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about the money. Because with a company like this, it always comes back to the money. In a single year, they distributed $37.2 billion to their shareholders. Just to put that into perspective for you, that is more than the entire economic output of countries like Bolivia. This isn't just a company, it's a financial force of nature. And you have to understand that power to even begin to understand how they really operate.
And there you have it, the official story, straight from the top. The CEO says they are fundamentally stronger. It's a message of pure confidence, of unwavering power. This is the story they want you to hear. But our investigation, well, it isn't about the stories they tell. It's about the facts they'd probably rather you didn't see. And that's exactly where we're going next.
To really get this investigation going, we have to start right here, with their public face. We need to understand the image they project, the legacy they claim, and just how they present themselves to the entire world.
You know, to really get ExxonMobil, you have to look at its DNA. This is not some new kid on the block. We are talking about a direct descendant of John D. Rockefeller's legendary Standard Oil, a company that has been a major player on the world stage for over 140 years. This isn't just history, folks. It's a legacy of immense power, and it's the foundation for everything we're about to uncover.
So keeping all that history in mind, let's jump to today. How does a company this massive, this old, not just survive, but completely dominate the game? It's time to open up their modern playbook and see exactly how they do it. And here's Exhibit A, this monster move. A nearly $65 billion deal to buy up Pioneer Natural Resources. Now, this wasn't just some simple purchase. No, this was a calculated, strategic strike designed to completely reshape the American energy landscape.
And this map, wow, this map shows you the pure genius and maybe the ruthlessness of that move. Look at the red and the green. Separately, they're big players, sure. But watch what happens when you put them together. It creates this massive, unbroken super territory of the most valuable oil land in the country. It's not just a merger, it was a checkmate move.
And if the map wasn't enough, here are the numbers. This chart says it all. I mean, look at the gap between that top bar and everyone else. It's not even a close race. They didn't just buy their way to the top of the list. They built themselves a throne and basically left the rest of the industry fighting for the scraps. This, right here, is what market dominance looks like.
So there's the official story, all wrapped up in neat bullet points. More land, more production, more power. And hey, they even threw in a little something extra, a promise to get greener faster. It looks perfect, a win-win for everybody. But as any good investigator will tell you, when a story seems a little too perfect, that's exactly when you need to start digging.
And this is where our investigation takes a really sharp turn. Because at the very same time that ExxonMobil is publicly talking up its environmental plans, a totally different story is unfolding behind closed doors. This is what we're calling the Great Climate Paradox.
So on one hand, you have this, their big plan for advancing climate solutions. It's a high-tech strategy called carbon capture and storage. The idea is they capture CO2, pipe it somewhere else, and then lock it away more than 3,000 feet underground. It's presented as this key weapon in the fight against climate change.
Sounds pretty good, right? A responsible corporation leading the charge? But here's the question our entire investigation really hangs on. Do their actions actually match their words? Is this a real commitment, or is it just really good PR?
And the answer, well, it comes to us in the form of a legal document. In October of 2025, the very same company that's championing these climate solutions filed a massive lawsuit against the state of California. And what were they suing over? The state's new climate disclosure laws.
And their legal argument here is something else. They claim that being forced to report their emissions is a violation of their First Amendment right to free speech. I mean, just think about that for a second. They're actually arguing in court that transparency is ideological speech. So with one hand, they're telling the world they're solving the problem, and with the other, they are fighting tooth and nail in court to keep the true scale of that problem a secret. It's just a stunning contradiction.
But this pattern doesn't stop with climate change.
Our investigation now turns to human rights, and here we find another shocking contrast between what the company says and what it actually does.
First, let's look at the public face. In their own reports, they proudly state they've trained over 70,000 security personnel on human rights. The message is crystal clear. We care about this stuff, we're one of the good guys. But as we're starting to see, the public face can hide a very different reality.
And then you have this timeline. In 2001, a group of villagers in Aceh, Indonesia filed a lawsuit alleging terrible abuses by security forces hired by ExxonMobil. For the next 21 years, the company fought to get the case thrown out. They tried to get it dismissed 9 separate times. Then, in May of 2023, just 1 week before the trial was finally about to start, the case was suddenly settled. A legal battle that lasted 22 years ends not with a verdict, but with a quiet settlement.
So what does this all look like when you put it together? When we connect the dots from the boardroom all the way to the courtroom, a very clear pattern starts to emerge. This is the synthesis of our entire investigation.
And here it is, the heart of our investigation, laid bare for you to see. On the left, you have the company they want you to see. On the right, you have the company that their own actions reveal. For every public promise, there seems to be a private lawsuit. For every stated principle, a long legal battle to avoid being held accountable. It's a pattern that's pretty much impossible to ignore.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really important question. For a company this big, with this much power and this much money on the line, is this constant state of contradiction just an unfortunate side effect of doing business? Or is the contradiction itself the business model?
That's something to think about.